Hello there, you're watching Nightline, and I'm Muhammed Hamdan, and here are the top stories. PM unveils record 470 billion ringgit people's budget. And 9 Malaysians held in Israel freed to return home on Sunday. Good morning. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on Friday unveiled Budget 2026, which allocates a total public expenditure of 470 billion ringgit compared with 452 billion ringgit in the previous year. The fourth Madani budget, themed The People's Budget, aims to strengthen economic resilience while balancing fiscal prudence with efforts to uplift the well-being of Malaysians. When tabling the 2026 budget in the Dewan Rakyat, Anwar said Malaysia's gross domestic product grew by a strong 4.4% in the first half of 2025. Despite global tariff tensions, the revised full-year growth projection of between 4 and 4.8% reflects the resilience of the nation's economy. For 2026, the economy is expected to grow between 4.0 and 4.5%, with momentum supported by an expansionary fiscal policy amid persistent global economic uncertainty and geopolitical tensions. According to Anwar, through the 2026 budget, the first aligned with the 13th Malaysia Plan, the government seeks to boost fiscal efficiency, plug leakages and strengthen national institutions to raise the ceiling of prosperity and lift the floor of living standards.
Belanjawan 2026 akan mengumpul dan mengoptimum sumber negara termasuk dana GLIK, Badan Berkanun Persekutuan dan syarikat MKD melalui perbelanjaan awam berjumlah 470 bilion ringgit berbanding 452 bilion ringgit tahun lalu. Ini meliputi RM338.2 bilion belanja mengurus, RM81 bilion belanja pembangunan, RM30 bilion pelaburan GLIC, RM10 bilion pelaburan awam swasta dan RM10.8 bilion pelaburan Badan Berkanun Persekutuan dan Syarikat MKD.
The Education Ministry again takes the lion's share with 66.2 billion ringgit, followed by the Health Ministry with 43.1 billion ringgit, while the Defence and Home Ministries will receive a combined allocation of 42.9 billion ringgit. Among the states, Sabah and Sarawak will receive the highest development allocations, amounting to 6.9 billion ringgit and 6 billion ringgit respectively. Anwar, who is also the finance minister, emphasized Malaysia remains committed to narrowing its fiscal deficit, targeting a reduction to 3.5% in 2026. For this year, the targeted deficit is 3.8%, down from 4.1% in 2024. Government revenue collection is also estimated to be increased to 343.1 billion ringgit compared to 334.1 billion ringgit projected for this year. According to the Economic Outlook 2026 report, Malaysia's total trade is projected to expand by 3.9% to 2.99 trillion ringgit in 2025, supported by resilient exports and steady global trade conditions despite persistent geopolitical and supply chain uncertainties. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister revealed that a total of 31 billion ringgit has been recovered through the government's efforts to improve governance and the rollout of targeted subsidies without adding to the people's burden.
Demikian maksud kami. Nak kena faham itu maksudnya tata kelola dalam pemerintahan. 15 bilion yang telah lesap ke mana bertahun-tahun sekarang dapat kita rampas daripada dan untuk memberikan faedah kepada rakyat. Bayangkan berapa lama puluhan tahun dibiarkan begitu rupa. Bayangkan 2 tahun 15.5 bilion ringgit.
Therefore, Anwar added the capabilities of enforcement agencies will be enhanced through training and the acquisition of new assets with an allocation of more than 700 million ringgit next year. At the same time, greater allocations will be directed towards addressing the cost of living, including investments in quality infrastructure for the benefit of the people.
Memanai subsidi pada pendapat kami adalah keistimewaan rakyat Malaysia. Dan bukan untuk warga asing. Bukan untuk syarikat besar. Kerajaan menyasarkan subsidi supaya dana awam sampai kepada rakyat.
The Prime Minister also announced that Malaysians aged 18 and above will get another round of the one-off 100 ringgit SARA aid, which will be disbursed in mid-February. A total of 15 billion ringgit has been allocated for the SARA initiative next year, an increase boosted by savings generated from the targeted diesel and RON 95 subsidies.
Sukacita diumumkan, kerajaan sekali lagi akan memberikan RM100 SARA kepada 22 juta rakyat Malaysia 18 tahun ke atas. Ini akan disalur pada pertengahan Februari yang boleh dimanfaatkan sempena persiapan Ramadan Karim dan sambutan Tahun Baru Cina.
Anwar added that 70% of the first round of SARA assistance, which can be used to purchase essential goods, has been utilised so far. Any funds unutilized by December will be redirected to programs benefiting the lower income group. Under the 2026 budget, the government will allocate 800 million ringgit for the Early Schooling Aid Initiative. The 150 ringgit assistance will benefit 5.2 million school students, with payments now to be made directly to parents in cash instead of through bank transfers. The Sumbangan Asas Rahmah or SARA initiative has also been expanded, benefiting all 9 million recipients of the Sumbangan Tunai Rahmah or STR. This initiative is aimed at easing the cost of living burden on the people.
Bagi tahun 2026, semua 9 juta penerima STR turut menerima SARA sehingga RM100 setiap bulan atau RM1,200 setahun. Manakala 1 juta penerima STR di bawah I-Kasih menerima SARA sehingga RM200 sebulan atau RM2,400 setahun. Kategori bujang RM600, iaitu RM50 sebulan melalui SARA. Kadar maksimum diterima isi rumah miskin ialah RM4,600, iaitu pendapatan bawah RM2,500 sebulan dengan 5 anak menerima STR RM2,200 dan SARA RM2,400.
Anwar also said the allocation for SARA and STR will be increased next year to 15 billion ringgit, up from 13 billion ringgit this year. He noted that the increase was made possible through savings from the government's targeted subsidy measures, including for diesel and RON 95 fuel. In conjunction with the upcoming Deepavali celebration, the STR Phase 4 payments totaling 2 billion ringgit will be brought forward to October 18th, ahead of the original November schedule. The government has further approved a 50% toll discount for 2 days during the festival period. The government, through the National Higher Education Fund Corporation, or PTPTN, will offer free higher education to 5,800 students from low-income families enrolled in public universities next year. The initiative will involve an allocation of 120 million ringgit.
Kerajaan juga bersetuju mengecualikan bayaran balik PTPTN kepada semua mahasiswa yang peroleh ijazah sarjana muda kepujian kelas pertama di PTA dari keluarga pendapatan rendah dan menengah. Ini memanfaatkan sekitar 6,000 peminjam.
The Prime Minister added that travel restrictions will be imposed on borrowers who are working abroad and financially able but continue to neglect their loan repayments. In addition, he announced 1,500 new degree places across 10 fields of study at 5 research universities, such as law, accounting, economics, Islamic finance, artificial intelligence, and languages, offering opportunities for high-achieving youths, including STPM graduates. Now, effective November 1st, the government will raise the excise duties on tobacco products and alcoholic beverages as part of efforts to promote a healthier lifestyle. According to Anwar, the excise duty on cigarettes will go up by 2 cents per stick, while cigars, cheroots and cigarillos will see a rise of 40 ringgit per kilogram. Heated tobacco products will also see a 20 ringgit increase per kilogram of tobacco content, while excise duty on liquor products will go up by 10%. The additional revenue generated from tobacco and alcohol will be channeled to the Health Ministry, including for the treatment of diabetes and heart disease. During the tabling, Anwar also said that the government is intensifying its push to position the country as a leading player in artificial intelligence, with a clear roadmap outlined under the 2026 budget to drive research, development, commercialization and innovation into AI. To help advance this objective, the government has allocated 5.9 billion ringgit for such initiatives.
Kita perlu sovereign cloud. Kita tidak boleh bergantung kepada kaedah lama, apalagi setelah Cloud Act diperkenalkan di Amerika Syarikat yang mempunyai kuasa untuk menerobos kepada semua. Maka sebab itu SKMM menyediakan pelaburan 2 bilion ringgit untuk melengkapkan sovereign cloud yang menjamin keselamatan negara kita sendiri.
The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, will also set up an AI Transformation Centre in cooperation with the Multimedia University and a Centre of Excellence in Ethics for Emerging Technologies as a research and development centre. Meanwhile, some 53 million ringgit in grants will be provided to encourage the use of technologies such as AI, blockchain and quantum computing in the country. Meanwhile, both Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof believe that the budget will help safeguard the people from global economic challenges and further strengthen the nation's economic well-being.
Belanjawan pada hari ini bukan sahaja bertujuan melindungi rakyat daripada cabaran global, malah ia merupakan pelaburan untuk masa hadapan yang lebih mapan, berdaya tahan dan makmur.
Itu untuk memastikan tanggungjawab fiskal, berbelanja dengan baik dan pada masa sama menumpukan pada keprihatinan rakyat. Daripada segala penjimatan yang kita laksanakan diberikan kembali kepada rakyat. Jadi inilah yang akan memberi asas kepada keyakinan ekonomi kita.
Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani noted that the 2026 budget signals the government's commitment to managing debt and deficit prudently and reflects its determination to maintain stability without compromising public welfare.
Bajet ini dapat mengimbangi kita punya defisit. Kita nampak daripada tahun 2022, 23, 24, dia nampak dia penurunan defisit yang sangat ketara, dan dalam keadaan uncertainty ini pun kita masih lagi membentangkan bajet dengan defisit hanya 3.5%. Jadi dari konteks ini kita nampak bahawa it's not easy to present bajet ini.
On the 120 million ringgit allocation announced by the Prime Minister for palm oil replanting, Johari emphasised that the move is crucial as the commodity remains one of Malaysia's key export earners. The 470 billion ringgit allocation for budget 2026 is described as significant, particularly in boosting Malaysia's economic transformation. According to analysts, the amount is crucial towards sustaining steady growth while ensuring fiscal sustainability. Economist Paulo Casadillo says the allocation can yield positive outcomes for the economy, provided there is close collaboration between all relevant stakeholders.
The effectiveness of the measure and the impact on the economy will critically depend upon the collaboration and coordination among different groups within the government and between the government, the industry and the university and research. Only putting in place effective team working on single project and putting in place the potentiality coming from the digital transformation is possible to get effective results.
Meanwhile, another economist, Muhammed Jantan, said the 2026 budget is poised to benefit the consumer sector the most, fueled by cash aid transfers, civil service wage adjustments and subsidy rationalisation. He added that the Visit Malaysia 2026 campaign, along with expanded SME financing and continued cost of living support, is also expected to strengthen household demand and spur growth across the retail, F&B, tourism and logistics sectors. Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers FMM President Tan Sri So Tian Lai meanwhile said the allocation of 470 million ringgit to boost the high-value technology sector, including the electrical and electronics as well as semiconductor industries, reflects the government's strong commitment to enhancing Malaysia's competitiveness and attracting quality investments in these key sectors.
FMM also applauds the ringgit Malaysia 60 million allocation for the market development grant to support market diversification. The ringgit Malaysia 7.9 billion allocation for Tibet and the promotion of STEM education to build a future-ready workforce, as well as the ringgit Malaysia 780 million investment to achieve 80% 5G coverage by 2026 to drive digital transformation, including smart manufacturing and competitiveness.
For Federation of Malaysian Consumers Associations or FOMCA President Dr. Marimutu Nadasan, the 2026 budget strikes a fair balance between fiscal priorities and social well-being with targeted support for key sectors like education, agriculture and healthcare.
A lot of initiative been given to the respective with the highest allocation, and also the sin tax which has been created, and as government promised, the sin tax will be used to support on critical illness for patients in the government sector, especially those who are receiving treatment from government hospital. I think so that should be welcome. And of course, there had been a lot of more improvement initiative for the B40.
Meanwhile, Malaysian Medical Association President Dr. Tiru Navukarasu Raju said the record high health allocation marks strong reform momentum reflecting progress in healthcare infrastructure, workforce expansion and public-private partnerships, including higher on-call allowances and the creation of 4,500 permanent positions for contract doctors.
MMA acknowledges the government's continued commitment to healthcare, with the highest ever allocation of RM 46.5 billion. This reflects recognition of the need to strengthen the system in line with the health white paper. We also appreciate the increase on on-call allowances, which is a well-deserved recognition of the dedication shown by our doctors and specialists.
The association also welcomed the higher excise duties on tobacco and alcohol, calling it a vital step in reducing non-communicable diseases, while reiterating its stance that vaping should be banned entirely due to its growing impact on young Malaysians. Nine Malaysian FFC volunteers to return home this Sunday. These and more after this breather.
Who are you?
Aku Sore, istri kamu dari masa depan.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Let's have it. You don't understand. This is all I have. I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Hey, Pedro.
तुम मेरी जिंदगी के बारे में जानते क्या? पति ने मारा है बॉयफ्रेंड ने?
पति ने
फ्रेंड, मॉम, मुझे आपसे प्राइवेटली कुछ बातें करनी है.
Sorry. Kalau emang kamu mau mati lebih dulu, ya udah, nggak usah dengerin aku lagi.
Jangan nak ubah orang. Kalau orang nak berubah, dia akan ubah dia sendiri. So there's a lot of like psychological message.
Cinta seorang isteri, dia sanggup buat macam-macam demi husband and wife ni. So the concept tu very touching lah.
Antara kasih, sayang, cinta sejati, harapan, impian dan juga penyesalan, anda kena tonton filem ni, khususnya golongan wanita.
Aku Sore, istri kamu dari masa depan.
Welcome back. All 9 Malaysian volunteers who were detained by Israeli forces during the Freedom Flotilla Coalition and 1,000 Madeleines to Gaza mission are expected to arrive home this Sunday. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim in a social media post on Friday evening confirmed that the group had arrived in Istanbul, Turkey, after being deported from Israel earlier in the day. Humanitarian Care Malaysia, or MyCare, Chief Executive Officer Kamarul Zaman Shahrul Anwar said several of MyCare's representatives had been stationed in Istanbul to assist with logistical arrangements to bring the volunteers home.
Bersama kami ada doctors,
yang akan juga review dan untuk menilai tahap kesihatan para peserta dari sudut mental, dari sudut kesihatan fizikal, dalam usaha insya-Allah persiapan mereka untuk kembali ke Malaysia.
On Wednesday, the 9-vessel flotilla, including its flagship, the Conscience, carrying 8 Malaysian activists, were intercepted by Zionist forces about 120 nautical miles off Gaza's coast. All 145 people on board the convoy were then transported to Ashdod port and detained at Keziot prison in Israel. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission has obtained a court order to block transactions amounting to 486.4 million ringgit under the name of Prince Turki Abdulaziz Al Saud. According to the MACC, the order was granted based on information that the account holder had allegedly received proceeds linked to the misappropriation of funds from 1MDB. In a statement, the agency said the restraining order was issued by Kuala Lumpur High Court Judge Nurul Huda Nuraini Muhammad Noor under Section 53 of the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act. The case was heard on Thursday following an application filed by the MACC on October 7th. The funds are reportedly held in 3 bank accounts in Switzerland involving 87.1 million and $12.7 million in 2 accounts at JP Morgan and another $15.3 million in a separate Swiss bank account. Seven killed after 2 powerful quakes strike the Philippines. The details when Nightline returns.
You don't understand. This is all I have. I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it. Hey, Pedro.
तुम मेरी जिंदगी के बारे में जानते क्या? पति ने मारा है बॉयफ्रेंड ने?
पति ने?
फ्रेंड, मॉम, मुझे आपसे प्राइवेटली कुछ बातें करनी है.
तुम आ जाओ.
Syukur Yusuf pulang. Dia nak jumpa anak kesayangannya sebelum dia pergi.
Kenapa Papa hantar Yusuf pergi? Apa salah Yusuf?
Terbaru ditonton.
Lelaki wajib jadi imam.
Oh, kau ni ingatlah. Kau ni diva sangat. Aku lagi diva tau. Aku diva.
Mak dia sendiri mengkhianati dia.
Saya bercinta dengan Lisa.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Sebab tiap kali saya lalu kan, mesti awak ada.
Muat turun dan layan tonton sekarang. Favourite anda di sini.
Onto the foreign front, thousands of displaced Palestinians have begun returning to their abandoned and mostly destroyed homes as the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas takes hold, with Israeli forces beginning to withdraw from parts of Gaza. Families moved from western residential areas back towards Gaza City's main districts, areas they were once forced to flee. Israeli brigades have also pulled out from central Gaza, including the Nuseirat camp, where families wait for the last tanks to leave. The ceasefire, ratified early Friday, took effect at noon local time, setting a 24-hour deadline for a full halt to hostilities and a partial troop withdrawal. Following this, US President Donald Trump pledged that Washington would not allow Israel to violate the Gaza ceasefire agreement reached this week. Despite the declaration of a ceasefire, Israeli forces continued bombing Khan Yunis and other parts of Gaza early Friday morning. Several artillery shells struck the Al-Katiba area in central Khan Yunis, with drones reportedly seen flying over the city. The eastern part of Gaza City was also hit by artillery and helicopter gunfire, killing at least 7 Palestinians. The Zionist regime, however, claimed its troops were positioned along new deployment lines in accordance with the ceasefire terms, saying operations would continue to eliminate immediate threats. The strikes were the first reported in Gaza since Israel's government ratified the first phase of a ceasefire deal with Hamas late Thursday night. At least 7 people were killed after 2 powerful offshore earthquakes struck off the southern Philippines on Friday, triggering regional tsunami warnings that were later lifted. The larger quake, with a magnitude of 7.4, hit about 62 kilometers southeast of Manay town in Davao Oriental, at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers just before 9:45 a.m. local time. A 6.7 magnitude aftershock rocked the same area several hours later. Officials confirmed 1 death in Mati City after a wall collapsed and a man suffered a heart attack, while another person was killed in Davao City, more than 100 kilometers from the epicenter. Power and communications were cut in several areas as authorities struggle to assess the damage. Classes have been suspended and non-essential government workers sent home. So far, damage appeared to be minor and scattered, though more than 100 aftershocks were recorded, some registering at least magnitude 5. And on to sports now. The government has allocated 580 million ringgit under Budget 2026 to strengthen national sports development. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the funds will be used to enhance high-performance sports programs, including Road to Gold, as well as preparations for the 2027 SEA Games and ASEAN Para Games to be hosted by Malaysia.
Kita harus di kesempatan ini juga memberikan dukungan kepada sukan dan olahraga negara. Sebab itu peruntukan ditambah lebih 580 juta ringgit.
Anwar said the allocation will also support efforts to empower para-athletes and promote deaf sports, as well as the maintenance and upgrading of youth and sports facilities nationwide. The Prime Minister praised the nation's athletes, including shuttlers Chen Tangjie, To Iwei, Perlitan and Amtina, as well as para-long jump champion Abdul Latif Romli for their outstanding achievements. He noted that their dedication and success have brought immense pride to Malaysia and inspired the spirit of unity and excellence among the people. On to badminton now, the 2025 Arctic Open. National women's double shuttlers Pearly Tan Amtina advanced to the semi-finals with a comfortable win over a much lower-ranked French pair in straight games on Friday. The world number 2 pair beat the French duo 21-11, 21-19 in just 34 minutes. Pearly Tina, who were last year's runners-up, will meet Xie Pei Shan, Hong Enzu from Taiwan. However, it was the end of the road for mixed doubles Go Sun Huat and Chevan Lai, who lost to Thai duo Dechapol Pavara Ranukro, Suprisra Pei Sampran in straight sets.